Welcome back. I'm Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me here. Today's video is going to be all about my IKEA cabinet behind me. I want to give you my thoughts on it still. Do I recommend a cabinet? Is it worth investing in if you're curious about owning one long term? I also want to give you a closer look inside. I want to take all the plants out and give everyone a water. I usually have to end up watering my cabinet twice a week in my environment because it's pretty warm in this plant room, and it gets pretty warm in the cabinet with the grow lights. So it is Thursday, so time to take everyone out, water everyone. I also need to give it a good clean. It's been a little bit since I gave it a thorough clean. I have kind of some dead beneficial mites on the glass, and I just want to give it a good dust. I think I want to just, give it a good little wipe down and get that cabinet nice and good and clean. And then we'll talk about the cabinet as I clean it out with you. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that little follow button, subscribe button down below. I would love to have you here. And let's get started. I've had my cabinet since April of last year, like I said, since I've had it in here and put together. And I love it. I think it's beautiful, it's timeless, it's classy. The overall aesthetics of having a cabinet, I love. Whether you get a particular style, color, I just think it's just beautiful and definitely worth it. I have the IKEA Millsbo Tall in white. And I got this cabinet, I think initially it was $199, but I do believe they've increased the price since then. So it's like mostly I think $229 now. And I'll kind of talk about the supplies that I got and how much extra I had to put into my cabinet. But yes, it's beautiful. I love it. My cabinet environment is roughly the same in there as it is out here. So I don't really need a cabinet in my environment. But if you live somewhere that's dry, that's cold, and you want to give those conditions to some plants of yours, then I definitely recommend. And I'm very happy with it. So I'm gonna get my camera set up and I'll grab some supplies. I usually water my plants over the floor, and I have floors in here now, so I can actually sit plants on the floor, not the carpet, and they won't spill over. Okay, I have my supplies here. I water over buckets. I will water over one bucket, let the plant drain in the other bucket, and then I'll put it back, because I like to let them drain, because if not, they'll drip since I have wire shelving in my cabinet. So I like to give them a thorough drink and let them drain. I have my water here, and I have some cleaning supplies, and I like to use my Swiffer duster, but I'm out of dusters right now, so I'm just going to use this cleaning mitt to kind of wipe the inside out. And I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. It's not super dirty by any means, but I don't think it's going to pick up. I don't think it is. I have like dead mites. I know that sounds gross on my cabinet. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna pick it up. These cabinet handles are pretty old. I got these on Etsy and they came from overseas. So you have to have the adapter piece in order to fit them onto this cabinet. But I believe now you can actually get cabinet handles that fit directly onto the holes that are provided on here, and you don't need an adapter. So there's all kinds of different handles that you can purchase, but I like these gold Monstera ones. They're very pretty. And all of my cabinet supplies and everything that I've used, I have an IKEA playlist with previous videos of me building it, and all the supplies I used, I go into a lot more detail. So I will make sure to link those down in the description if you are curious and you want more of an in-depth view of the cabinet and tutorial. I adjusted the brightness down a little just so that you can actually see a little bit closer in here. But the lights that I chose to go with are the Barina T8s, and I love them. I have two on the top shelf, and then on the middle shelf I have one, and the bottom shelf I have one. So there's a total of 4 Barina T8s, and I think they are amazing lights. The plants are pretty close to the light. I'm gonna have to be taking that one out soon. And on this middle level, you can kind of see how close they are to the light. And again, the bottom level, they are extremely close to the light. The cabinet has little screw holes that you can see that are built in here, and there's some on different levels. So you can arrange the shelving units how you would like. So the way that I have mine arranged is I have this section being the tallest, and then I have this middle section being a little bit shorter, and the bottom section is the shortest. So not many tall plants can go. So you can kind of arrange these how you would like. I ended up opting to change to wire shelves instead of the glass that came with the cabinet because of more air circulation. My hydrometer is broke. I gotta get a new battery for it. I think I might have one. Let's see. Oh, they're the small ones. I don't know if I have small ones. I might have to go get some. But yeah, it roughly stays like temperature wise upwards towards 80, and humidity it usually stays in the 70s. My cabinet is not weather stripped. I opted to not weather strip it because I don't need it. My environment is pretty humid without weather stripping. So if I weather stripped it, the humidity would probably be upwards towards like 90, and that's a little bit too humid. I think 70s is perfect in here, and my plants are happy in like 75% humidity. So yeah, I love the wire shelving for airflows, and I just have them connected on a little L bracket, like in 4 spots, so each corner. And then I have another L bracket attached here. And I just basically kind of hid the grow lights with zip ties. I just kind of have them zip tied together. And I have 2 fans. I have one on that level and one on that level. And the fans run 24/7. I don't shut them off. I will say the fans, that yellow cord is the fan cord, and these fans work through a USB. So down below, I have a little cable box that has an outlet timer that has USB plugs, so they're plugged into there. And the grow lights are on a timer, that blink outlet there. So I have 2 separate cords for my cabinet. I obviously could arrange this differently and get a different outlet timer so that I was only using 1 plug, but it's how I set it up initially, and it's worked fine for me, so it doesn't really bother me. I did have pegboards, the Scattis pegboards, attached to the screw hooks in the back here, but now I just have the glass. And the reason I removed the pegboards is because they molded. I noticed the mold after about 8 months, but I think they were molding earlier than that. So I set the cabinet up in April, and then it was around December, around New Year's, I was giving my cabinet a thorough deep clean, and I saw the molding then. It was disgusting. I'll find footage of what the molding looked like and insert it. I did it in a late night, I think, plant chores video. Yeah, so I still have the pegboards. They're just not attached to anything. I just have them in my closet. So I feel like you could probably weather strip them or seal them so that they don't mold, but I didn't seal mine or anything. So that's something to look out for if you do want to get the Scattis pegboards, is they'll mold. I have seen people replace the pegboards with wire shelving, which looks nice, and the wire shelving kind of gives you more room to hang plants on in the back. The only thing with that though, that I'll say with the pegboards or any kind of shelving, is you don't have a lot of room in the cabinet. And that's probably my biggest, I would say, negative, is space. So the cabinet is not very large at all. Plants outgrow the cabinet very quickly. My cabinet kind of turned into an anthurium cabinet late summer last year. I pretty much had all of my anthurium stuffed in here, and they grew, they exploded. They love the cabinet. Yeah, they just outgrew it so quickly. My plants became squished in here. And I have had the issue with that being when all your plant leaves are touching and plants are crammed, is if you get a pest outbreak in the cabinet, pretty much everything is going to get infected. At least that's what happened with me. I had 2 different outbreaks in here. I had a thrips outbreak, And a lot of not all of them caught thrips in here, but it spread to all 3 shelves. I had plants in different areas that caught thrips. And I had a phyllo in here that caught spider mites. I don't know if it caught spider mites while it was in the cabinet, or I had taken it out to water and it had some spider mites on it and I didn't realize it at the time, and I put it back in here. And every single plant, every single one, when I noticed the problem, had spider mites, because I think the fans were blowing them around. And yeah, I had to take every plant out and treat it. And yeah, I had to monitor the cabinet for spider mites for the next few weeks. And I had spider mites on all of my alocasia down here. This is an entire alocasia shelf now. Everything had spider mites. So that was kind of, it's another annoying thing with a cabinet when you're in close proximity, is if you do have an outbreak or a pest issue, then you have to inspect and treat pretty much everyone in there. At least that's what my experience was with pest. So I would say pest and space are like my 2 biggest concerns with the cabinet, or my 2 biggest negatives. And everything else has honestly been a positive. I'm gonna completely empty my cabinet out, and we're gonna clean it first and then water everyone and put them all back in here. So I water my cabinet twice a week, like I said, or at least check everyone in here twice a week. And not all of them need water twice a week, but I just do a check and see who actually needs water, and I'll water everyone. But while I'm watering, I do a pest check, because that's the thing with having a previous pest issue. I like to catch something early, so I'm always monitoring for a pest. So if you can catch something early, then you can treat it and control it better. So I kind of do that while I water. It doesn't take me very long to water my cabinet. I would say maybe 30 minutes or so, 30, 40 minutes. And some days I do it a lot quicker than others. This is my baby Regal Shield. It's so cute. It is definitely growing towards the light. Look at that. It's so root bound in here. I need to upsize it. Here's a closer look at the cabinet, all emptied. I have all the plants all over the floor. It's crazy how much can actually fit in the cabinet. It's crazy to think that all these fit in here. Yeah, my cabinet isn't dirty by any means. It has been a lot dirtier. I have magnets attaching the top row of grow lights, which I recommend. The stickers will fall, so these magnetic clips work perfectly. Now, rusting wise, I have noticed some rusting on these clips here that attach the grow lights. There's some rusting going on, which doesn't bother me. And it kind of gets crumbs all along here, like dirt. And these metal clips here, these S hooks, have kind of gotten a little rusty. Here's some rust on that clip. The fans get pretty dusty too, so I just have to clean those. The bottom layer gets the dirtiest, I would say, with like dead bugs and dirt spillage. And I've noticed a little rusting around the little thing where I actually drilled into it. But again, it doesn't really bother me. The rusting, I haven't really noticed it. But I feel like it's held up well for the most part, besides the actual molding of the pegboards. The lights have done well. The fans haven't stopped working. And here's kind of the view from the side. I did have some plants up top. I have just like a little, it's empty right now. It just gets dusty. So I'll probably end up, I don't know if I'll end up putting a plant up top, but just know that you do have that storage up here in case you want to put plants, because it's nice having that, especially if you're out of space, or if you have one that's shorter, you can utilize the top shelf. So technically you have 3 shelves if you do, or 4 shelves if you do count the top of that. It just doesn't get a lot of light up top. I did have a trailing pothos here, which I might add back, we'll see. I do kind of like the simple look of not having it cluttered up top, but yeah, you can definitely add plants up there. My stratum cups dry out the quickest, so these are the ones that I tend to water first. My variegated Frydek, you can see I upsized it to this larger stratum cup not that long ago, and it's all the way dry. And I just watered this Sunday, which was like 4 days ago. So I just top them off. I like to fill mine pretty much to the top. Sometimes I overfill it accidentally, so I just pour some water in another one. When I'm watering my cabinet, I usually just take it shelf by shelf, and I move pretty quickly when I do water, so it usually doesn't take me any time at all. And plants that are in soil, I literally just water over a bin, give them a good drink, and then I let them drain. I usually just kind of let them bottom water in here to get like a good soak. Especially the ones that are more thirsty. Some of them don't dry out as quickly as others. It really depends on the root system. But I won't be watering my cabinet again until probably Sunday, so this will hold them over. Moss tends to dry out quickly too, but I just kind of feel them. If it's still damp, then I don't bother watering them. The moss ones I usually just have to kind of rehydrate once a week usually. So all the moss ones are still good. So really I don't have a lot to water. I just have to finish topping off my corms. And then I have 3 moss poles behind me, and that's it. This is my favorite tray of alocasia. Try not to drop it. So this is all alocasia corms. And I have more alocasia that I end up putting on this top level just because I don't have enough room. I'm going to take this acrylic stake and stick it down in here gently and tie this floppy leaf around here. I think this one's probably going to go just to kind of hold it up a little bit better while it's in here. My clary, I desperately need to repot, but I'm waiting on these 2 inflows. This one is going to give me berries soon, and this one is also working on berries. So I am double pollinated on this one. So as soon as these give me berries, I am going to repot her. She's putting so much energy into keeping the inflows alive that she hasn't given me a new leaf or anything in a while. And yeah, I really need to change her mix. She's a little squished in here, but it'll be okay for a little while. And then the alvo goes in here too. And that is it. The cabinet is all done. Let me show you what she's looking like. Here she goes. The cabinet is all done and watered. Everyone is back in their place. All the corms looking good. And then that's the anthurium seedlings there and some props. And then we have a few moss poles here. And the anthurium and monstera prop. I'm going to cut the light back on to show you. Well, and that's what it looks like with the light back on again. So that is my cabinet update and clean out and watering. If you have any questions about an IKEA cabinet, or if anything else you want to know that I didn't cover or didn't share, let me know down in the comments below. I just feel like it is worth the investment. Total cost, I would say with the lights, I think those were around $50 maybe, and then the shelving I think was $20, and then the fans I think was $15 each, so $30. So all in all, minus like the little screws and the little L brackets and the handles, I probably paid an additional, I probably invested maybe an additional $150 into my cabinet. And if you're counting the pegboards, and I bought like these little containers and everything that went on the pegboards, those were probably an additional $50. So I probably spent an extra $200 plus the cabinet. But I definitely didn't need all those accessories. I kept it very simple. Lights, wire shelvings, and fans for airflow. That's all I really needed. And just the brackets to hang the shelves. So it didn't really cost me too much extra, and I really do think it is worth it to have a cabinet. Again, not necessary for me in my environment, but for someone else who lives, again, in a drier climate, it gets cold and your humidity isn't that great, then I would definitely invest in one. Just keep in mind that you will eventually have to acclimate them out of that higher humid environment, and they do outgrow it quickly. If you're wanting to put large plants in there to grow in there, it may not be the best, but if you are looking to turn it into propagations, cuttings, rehab, small plants, they will thrive in there and do really well, and you can leave plants in here a while. Moss poles will outgrow it very quickly. So yeah, there's a lot of plants that would love that environment and do really well. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will talk to you in my next one. See, Chai says bye. Chai says bye. He was just looking at a lizard outside. Yeah, he was looking at a lizard outside, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Look at him looking at me. Yeah. Bye, guys.